Welcome back to our channel, where we delve deep into global stories and perspectives that often go unnoticed. Today we explore a crucial story emerging from the heart of West Africa, one that is sparking intense debate and forcing the world to reassess the role of the media in shaping narratives and influencing nations. What happens when the narratives of foreign journalists are at odds with the sovereignty of entire countries? Does defending national sovereignty justify curbing certain voices, even if they are from established media outlets? Share your thoughts in the comments, and let's begin this complex journey. Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger, three West African nations grappling with political and social turmoil, have recently taken a bold stance against what they perceive as external interference. The center of this controversy is a prominent French journalist and researcher, Wasim Naser, whose work on jihadist movements in the Sahel region has drawn the scrutiny of local authorities. Naser, known for his reporting on France 24, stands accused of promoting narratives that align more closely with Western interests than the realities faced by these African nations. But what's truly at stake here? It's more than just a journalist being investigated. It's a deeper conflict between a region struggling to reclaim its voice and foreign entities seeking to define the conversation. These actions have raised pressing questions about freedom of speech, the role of journalism, and the boundaries of national sovereignty. The history of African nations is littered with examples of foreign interference, from the colonial era to modern-day geopolitical maneuverings. Such interference has often left these nations in a state of disarray, divided and exploited. For decades, foreign powers have meddled in the political affairs of African countries, directly or indirectly influencing governance and sowing seeds of discord. This backdrop of manipulation has fostered a deep-seated distrust of foreign involvement, especially when it comes to narratives that touch on sensitive issues like terrorism, governance, and security. The military governments in Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger, which have recently come to power amidst internal crises, view themselves as protectors of their nation's sovereignty. They argue that foreign media and journalists like Naser often bring more harm than good by misrepresenting the challenges these nations face. But is this justifiable? Are these nations protecting their sovereignty, or are they merely stifling dissent? Wasim Naser, a seasoned journalist, has spent years analyzing the complex security dynamics in the Sahel. His reports, which have reached a global audience, have been criticized by the governments of Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger for what they call an apology of terrorism. This accusation stems from the belief that Naser's analyses, rather than just informing, might be subtly legitimizing or downplaying the actions of jihadist groups that have wreaked havoc in the region. The military regimes argue that such commentary can become a tool for destabilization. In an environment where national unity and stability are fragile, they see these narratives as a direct threat to their authority and, more importantly, to the safety of their citizens. But where should the line be drawn between responsible reporting and commentary that could incite unrest? This is the crux of the debate. Let's not forget the history of media's role in inciting violence and division. One of the most chilling examples is the Rwandan genocide of 1994, where media outlets like Radio Télévision Libre des Mille Collines, or RTLM, played an instrumental role in promoting hate speech and calling for violence against the Tutsi population. This resulted in a devastating massacre that claimed the lives of over 800,000 people. Similarly, during the Arab Spring in 2011, Western media narratives contributed to the downfall of regimes, but also paved the way for power vacuums and long-standing instability in countries like Libya and Syria. The aftermath of these events serves as a stark reminder of how narratives, when unchecked, can spiral out of control and lead to real-world consequences. Given this context, it's not surprising that the governments of Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger have adopted a more defensive stance against foreign media. They see their actions not as an assault on press freedom, but as necessary steps to ensure national stability. To them, journalists who wield words irresponsibly pose as much danger as armed insurgents. These governments are sending a clear message. If you wish to report on our nations, you must do so with a full understanding of our struggles and our sovereignty. However, critics argue that this is merely an excuse to silence dissent and control the flow of information. They see the crackdown on Wasim Naser and other foreign journalists as a step towards authoritarianism, where only narratives that align with the state's agenda are permitted. But this perspective often overlooks the complex realities faced by these nations, realities that include not only the threat of terrorism, but also the remnants of colonial manipulation and the ongoing battle against neo-colonialism. So, what does this mean for local journalism in the Sahel? For years, local journalists have been overshadowed by foreign correspondents who often frame stories in ways that resonate more with international audiences than with the lived experiences of the people on the ground. The scrutiny of foreign journalists is opening up space for local voices to emerge as authentic storytellers of their communities. It's an opportunity for African journalists to redefine their narrative, focusing on resilience, innovation, and unity instead of conflict and despair. Yet this comes with its own set of challenges. Local journalists face immense risks when reporting on sensitive issues. Threats, intimidation, and violence are part of the everyday reality for many. By asserting control over the media landscape, the military governments in the Sahel hope to create a safer environment for these journalists to operate. But will this truly lead to a flourishing of authentic journalism? Or will it result in an environment where only state-approved narratives survive? The stakes are high. If local journalism thrives under these conditions, it could mark the beginning of a new era where African stories are told by Africans, for Africans, and for the world. This could pave the way for a deeper understanding of the continent's complexities and a break from the stereotypes that have long dominated Western media portrayals. But if the military regimes use this as an opportunity to stifle all dissent, it could backfire, further alienating local communities and inviting international condemnation. This is not just a battle over the control of information. It's a struggle for African nations to reclaim their voice and shape their destinies. As these nations push back against external narratives, they are also redefining what it means to be sovereign in an age of information warfare. As we wrap up, we pose this question to you. Should a nation prioritize its sovereignty over absolute freedom of speech, especially when that freedom could be used as a weapon against its people? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want to continue exploring the nuanced stories shaping the African continent, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. We are committed to bringing you content that goes beyond the surface, shedding light on the history, culture, and struggles of African nations. Until next time, stay informed, stay engaged, and let's keep these crucial conversations going.